Have you ever tried standing up from a chair, and it felt like you were carrying 2 sacks of wet cement on your thighs? Yeah. Well, I once had a patient. Let's call him Mr. Tanaka. He was 76 years old and used to be a judo coach in Kyoto. Real tough guy, could chop bamboo with his palm. But one day he bent down to pick a radish in his garden, and he couldn't get back up. Not because he slipped, not because of pain. His legs just quit. And he told me, "Doc, my legs betrayed me." Now that sounds dramatic, right? Like something from a samurai movie. But honestly, he wasn't wrong. I mean, let's be real for a second. Nobody tells you that your legs, not your back, not your memory, not even your teeth, are the first thing to check out when you hit your golden years. You wake up one day and stairs feel like Everest. Standing from the toilet? That's a full-body workout. And don't even get me started on those harmless grocery store trips. One aisle in and your quads are waving the white flag. Now, as a doctor who's seen thousands of patients from New York to Osaka, let me tell you, this is no joke. What most people chalk up to just getting older is actually something with a name. Sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. But here's the kicker. It doesn't have to happen so fast. And it certainly doesn't have to knock you off your feet. In fact, and stay with me here, you can reverse some of that muscle loss. No magic pills. No gym memberships. No high-tech vibrating underpants. Just food. Yup, real food. Stuff you might already have in your kitchen. Maybe even hiding in the back of your fridge behind that one weird jar you swore you'd use last Christmas. So today, I'm gonna show you 5 powerful science-backed foods that do more than just fill your belly. These foods send a signal to your muscles, and that signal says, get up, get strong. We're not done yet. We're also gonna bust some myths, like whether eggs are your friend or your heart's enemy. I'll share some mistakes I see way too many people make. And I've got a wild story about natto that, well, you'll just have to see it to believe it. So grab a seat, but don't get too comfy. Because by the end of this video, you might just feel like standing up. 1. The role of food in preventing muscle loss, not just vitamins. So picture this. I'm sitting in my clinic in Tokyo, sipping green tea, going through patient files, when this delightful older lady comes in. We'll call her Yuki-san. She's 81, sharp as a tack, and wearing sneakers that look like they've climbed Mount Fuji. She sits down, pats her thigh, and says, "Doctor, my muscles are disappearing. I think I'm evaporating." Now that got my attention. Evaporating? That's a new one. But the truth is, she's not wrong. She wasn't in pain. Nothing was broken. But when she tried to lift her grandkids or get up from the tatami, her legs just weren't cooperating. And the first thing she asked me, should I take more vitamins? Oh boy. Now listen, I'm not anti-vitamin. In fact, we'll talk about a few that really matter later. But here's the thing, people forget vitamins are the support crew, not the main act. If your muscles are shrinking faster than a cotton shirt in a hot dryer, popping pills won't save the show. What you actually need is food. Real food. The kind your grandma would recognize. Why? Because muscle isn't built out of thin air. It needs building blocks. That means high-quality protein, essential amino acids, healthy fats, the stuff that sends your body the message, hey, we're not done growing. Let's break it down real quick, without making your eyes glaze over like a hospital jelly cup. Your muscles are made of protein fibers. As you age, your body's ability to synthesize, fancy word for build, new muscle declines. It's called anabolic resistance. Sounds like a gym band name, but nope, it's just biology getting lazy. If you don't eat enough protein or the right kinds, your body starts breaking down muscle for energy. That's like burning your furniture to keep the house warm. And what makes it worse? Most older adults eat less protein than they did when they were 30, even though they need more. I mean, think about it. Your muscles are fighting gravity, age, maybe arthritis. And the best you're giving them is half a hard-boiled egg and a spoon of yogurt? Come on. We need to start thinking of food as medicine, slow, delicious, chewable medicine. You ever seen an Okinawan breakfast? Fish, tofu, sweet potato, seaweed. That's not just tradition, that's functional muscle food. And speaking of fish, don't even get me started on miso-glazed salmon. Omega-3s, protein, vitamin D. It's like a multivitamin with fins. But hey, I get it. Eating healthy when you're tired, stiff, or alone can be a drag. So in the next section, I'm going to show you exactly which foods, 5 of them, to be precise, pack the biggest punch for your legs. These aren't exotic or expensive. No camel milk, no powdered moon rocks. Just real, accessible stuff that you can eat today and feel the difference by next week. Let's start with a surprise contender that's probably already sitting in your fridge, and no, it's not that questionable cheese from last summer. 2. Food 1. Eggs, the near-perfect muscle food. Alright, let's crack open the first food on our muscle-saving menu, and yes, that's your cue to imagine an egg cracking in slow-mo. Eggs. Simple, right? Humble, even. But don't let that shell fool you. This little orb is a protein-packed powerhouse that your legs will thank you for. Let me tell you what happened with one of my patients, Ken. 76, retired firefighter. Tough guy, still wears his old boots like he's ready to run into a burning building. But lately, he was struggling to lift himself off the couch. So I asked him, Ken, what do you usually have for breakfast? He goes, coffee, sometimes toast. If I'm feeling fancy, maybe peanut butter. And I said, Ken, your legs are starving. Here's the deal. Eggs are one of the most complete sources of protein on the planet. They contain all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body can't make on its own. You either eat them or your muscles go, welp, guess we're not rebuilding today. Now, let's talk numbers, but don't worry, I won't turn this into a math class. 1 large egg has about 6 grams of high-quality protein. But what makes it really magical is leucine, an amino acid that acts like a green light for muscle growth. It tells your body, hey, time to repair those legs. And no, you don't have to eat a dozen eggs like a bodybuilder named Brock who screams at dumbbells. 2 or 3 eggs a day can already make a difference. But here's the kicker, most of the nutrients are in the yolk. Yup, the part people used to throw out in the 90s when we were all terrified of cholesterol. Well, let me set the record straight. If you toss the yolk, you're tossing the good stuff. We're talking vitamin D, choline, omega-3s, all crucial for brain function, nerve signaling, and yes, muscle strength. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about cholesterol? Good question. Recent studies show that for most people, eating eggs in moderation does not raise your heart disease risk. In fact, the nutrients in eggs can actually support heart and brain health as you age. Still not convinced? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine this, it's breakfast time. You're sitting down with a plate of 2 boiled eggs, some avocado, and a slice of whole grain toast. You're feeding your body exactly what it needs to rebuild, repair, and get moving, not just survive, but thrive. And the best part? Eggs are cheap, versatile, and take less time to cook than it takes your knees to warm up in the morning. So whether you scramble them, poach them, boil them, or even toss them in a bowl of steaming miso soup like we do here in Japan, just eat your eggs. Your muscles, especially the ones keeping your legs upright, will love you for it. And hey, speaking of foods that love your legs, there's one that's not just food, it's fermented, funky, and full of power. You might wrinkle your nose at first, but stay with me. Let's talk about the muscle magic of fermented soy, and no, I'm not just talking tofu. 3. Food 2. Fatty fish, mackerel, sardines, salmon, the anti-inflammatory powerhouse. Okay, time to dive into something a little slippery. But trust me, this one's worth reeling in. Fatty fish like mackerel, sardines, and salmon might just be your leg's best underwater friend. Now before you say, but doc, I don't like fish, it's too fishy, let me tell you a quick story about Barb. She's 81, hates the ocean, thinks sushi is raw nonsense, and once called sardines cat food for humans. But she also had knee joints that sounded like popcorn in the microwave. Walking up the stairs? Forget it. Bending down to tie her shoes? A full production. So I challenged her. Give me 2 weeks. Just a few servings of salmon and sardines, and if your knees don't thank you, I'll personally do your grocery shopping in a mermaid costume. She didn't want that. Nobody wanted that. So she gave it a try. And folks, 2 weeks later, Barb was bouncing up those stairs like she was late for bingo. Well, okay, not bouncing, but she wasn't groaning either. So what's the magic here? Omega-3 fatty acids. These are the golden ticket hiding in fatty fish, especially EPA and DHA. They're like firefighters for your joints and muscles, constantly putting out the tiny inflammation fires caused by age, stress, or the occasional overenthusiastic gardening. Here's the science part, but don't worry, no goggles needed. When your body's inflamed from arthritis, injury, or just good OL time, it starts releasing chemicals called cytokines. These things, they're like drama queens. They show up, shout a lot, and leave behind pain, stiffness, and swelling. Omega-3s calm them down. They say, hey, let's not turn this into Grey's Anatomy. Not only that, omega-3s support muscle protein synthesis. That's a fancy way of saying, let's rebuild and repair. And they help improve circulation so your legs don't feel like they're wearing invisible concrete boots. Want another bonus? Omega-3s help protect your brain, eyes, and even your heart because everything's connected. If you want strong legs, you need a strong system behind them. Now, sardines might not win any beauty contests, but they're cheap, packed with nutrients, and don't require a 5-star chef. Just crack open the can, drain the oil, squeeze a little lemon, maybe toss on a salad, boom, done. Salmon? Grill it, pan-sear it, bake it, or if you're living dangerously, eat it raw. Just maybe not from that gas station sushi counter. Mackerel? A little smokier, great in Japanese-style breakfast with rice and miso. Trust me, I live in Japan, and people in their 80s here walk more stairs than most of us do in a year. And here's something a lot of folks miss. Fatty fish are also loaded with vitamin D, the same stuff that helps you absorb calcium and keep your bones from crumbling like dry biscuits. So, if your legs have been feeling stiff, inflamed, or just plain meh, it might be time to let the fish do the heavy lifting. Now, speaking of protein and powerful nutrients, let's talk about a food that might make you wrinkle your nose. But trust me, it's one of the best things you can eat if you're serious about saving your muscles and bones. Coming up next, fermented soy. Yes, natto, the sticky, smelly, stringy stuff, and why it might just be a secret superfood hiding in plain sight. You ready? 4. Food 3. Sweet potatoes, the secret to stable blood sugar and energy. Alright, picture this. It's 3 p.m. You're sitting on the couch. You just had lunch, maybe a sandwich, maybe something microwaved, and suddenly bam, you hit the wall. Energy, gone. Legs, heavy. Motivation, buried under a blanket somewhere. Sound familiar? Well, let me introduce you to a tuber that doesn't just taste like autumn, it acts like a slow-burning fuel tank for your legs. Sweet potatoes. Now, I know what you're thinking, doctor. You want me to eat carbs? Aren't carbs the enemy? Nope, not these. These guys are the good guys, the ones that stick around, burn slow, and keep your blood sugar from acting like it's on a trampoline. Let me take you back to a patient of mine, Chuck, 78 years old, retired firefighter, and absolutely terrified of carbs. His exact words, "I'd rather run into a burning building than eat a potato." But Chuck was dealing with leg fatigue so bad, he said going to the mailbox felt like a hike up Mount Everest, in flip-flops. So, I convinced him to try adding just half a baked sweet potato to dinner. Nothing fancy, just roasted, bit of olive oil, maybe some cinnamon. Within days, his energy levels were more stable, no post-meal crashes, and for the first time in months, he made it to the dog park without needing to lean on the fence like a tired cowboy. So, what makes sweet potatoes so magical? First off, they're low on the glycemic index. That means they don't spike your blood sugar and crash it 30 minutes later like white bread or sugary snacks. Instead, they release glucose slowly and steadily, giving your muscles a nice, even flow of energy over time. Think of it like sipping tea versus chugging 5 espressos. That's crucial for your legs because when your blood sugar's up and down like a roller coaster, your muscles get confused. One moment they're full of fuel, next they're stranded. That inconsistency makes your legs feel weak, shaky, and tired, not ideal when you're trying to stay active. But that's not all. Sweet potatoes are loaded with potassium, a key mineral that helps your muscles contract smoothly and keeps cramps at bay. And they come with a bonus dose of fiber, which helps your gut stay happy. And believe it or not, a healthy gut plays a big role in how well your body absorbs nutrients. Plus, they're orange, which scientifically makes them more fun to eat. That's not a fact, but I stand by it. And hey, if you're worried about prep, sweet potatoes are one of the easiest foods to work with. Bake them whole. Mash them with some Greek yogurt. Roast them into crispy cubes. Or do what my neighbor Hiroshi does, slice them thin. Throw them in the air fryer, and pretend it's cheat day. So if you're tired of the leg fatigue, the energy dips, and that foggy post-lunch slump that makes your recliner call your name, try the sweet potato. It's humble, it's delicious, and it just might be the fuel your legs have been begging for. Coming up next, we're heading into even funkier territory of fermented food that's been around for centuries but still weirds out 90% of people the first time they try it. Spoiler: it smells like gym socks, but your bones are gonna love it. Yup, it's Nat 2 and it's next. 5. Food 4. Leafy greens, nature's muscle insurance policy. Okay, confession time. When I was a kid, the sight of anything green on my plate was basically a deal breaker. Spinach? Nope. Kale? What even is kale? My strategy was simple: fork it around the plate and hope mom wouldn't notice. Fast forward a few decades and now, as a doctor watching people struggle with leg weakness, frailty, and endless visits for muscle cramps, I wish I could go back in time and yell at little me, "Eat the darn spinach! Your quads will thank you." So, let me tell you why leafy greens aren't just rabbit food theory, your muscles insurance policy. First, let's talk magnesium. Spinach, Swiss chard, arugula theory, all packed with this magic mineral. And magnesium is basically the WD-40 for your muscles. It helps them contract, relax, and not cramp up like a pretzel when you're just trying to stand up from your recliner. One of my older patients, Mizuki 83, lives alone. Gardens every morning, came in complaining her legs felt like twisted rope. We tested her magnesium. Told her to start eating more dark leafy greens. 2 weeks later, she's back to pulling weeds and outrunning the neighbor's cat. True story. But that's not all. Leafy greens are loaded with vitamin K, especially vitamin K1, which plays a big role in bone metabolism. Think of K1 like a tour guide for calcium. This way to the bones, folks, not the arteries. Without enough of it, calcium goes rogue and might start building up in places you really don't want it to, like your blood vessels. Not cute. Not healthy. Oh, and let's not forget the nitrates naturally found in greens like beet leaves, spinach, and romaine. These nitrates help widen your blood vessels and improve circulation, so all that good oxygen and nutrients can actually reach your leg muscles instead of, getting stuck in traffic somewhere near your hips. Now, if the idea of chewing through a forest of kale makes you cringe, don't worry. You don't need to become a green smoothie evangelist overnight. You can sauté spinach with garlic and olive oil. Toss arugula into your eggs. Add shredded kale into soup. Or do what I do on lazy days. Throw a bunch of baby spinach into a blender with some frozen mango, almond milk, and boom, you're basically Popeye in smoothie form. And here's a fun fact: leafy greens are one of the few foods that help both bones and muscles at the same time. It's like getting a 2-for-1 deal. Except better, because your legs might actually stop feeling like spaghetti halfway up the stairs. So if you're looking for a natural way to keep your legs strong, steady, and spasm-free, stop treating leafy greens like plate decor. They're not the sidekick theory, the main event. Alright, coming up next, we've talked greens, now let's talk beans. And not just any beans: fermented soy, aka natto. Yeah, it's sticky, it's stinky, and it wiggles in a way that defies physics, but your bones? They absolutely love it. Let's dive into why this ancient Japanese food might be your secret weapon against bone loss, if you can get past the smell. 6. Food 5. Fermented soy, natto tempeh, the hidden K2 power. Okay, quick story. The first time I tried natto, I was in a cozy little Tokyo breakfast joint. A sweet old lady handed me a bowl of sticky, stringy soybeans, smiled with grandmotherly warmth and said, "For strong bones." Me? I smiled back like a brave tourist. Then I took one bite and immediately questioned all my life decisions. The texture? Think slimy spider webs. The smell? Somewhere between old cheese and gym socks. But the science? Oh, it's a masterpiece. See, fermented soy, especially natwa, one of the richest natural sources of vitamin K2 on the planet. And this nutrient, it doesn't just help bones, it directs calcium to the right address. Think of calcium like a confused delivery guy. Without instructions, it might dump packages anywhere in your arteries, joints, or soft tissues. But vitamin K2 is the GPS. It says, hey buddy, that calcium belongs in the bones, not in the knees, not in the heart. That's huge for aging adults because misplaced calcium is one of the sneakiest culprits behind stiff joints, fragile bones, and those surprise fractures that seem to come out of nowhere. And here's the kicker. Most Western diets are woefully low in K2. You can eat all the calcium-rich foods in the world, but if K2 isn't there to chaperone it into the bone matrix, you're basically tossing confetti into the wind and hoping it lands in the right place. Now back to natto. I had a patient, let's call him Bob, retired firefighter, tough as nails, hates vegetables. I suggested natto. He looked at me like I'd lost my medical license. So instead, I introduced him to another fermented soy product. Milder, nuttier, way less dramatic, still delivers a solid K2 punch. A few weeks in, his knee pain eased up, bone density holding steady, and no more morning stiffness that made him walk like the Tin Man before oil. If you can't do natto, that's okay. Tempeh's your friend. And for the truly bold, natto is worth acquiring a taste for. Mix it with a bit of mustard or green onion. Or just plug your nose and remind yourself, this is for my bones. This is for my bones. Bottom line? Fermented soy is like the underground rock star of bone nutrition, totally underrated. A little funky, but absolutely powerful. It's your best bet to keep your calcium where it belongs, in your skeleton, not your soft spots. And if you're already dealing with weak legs or frequent cramps, this might just be the secret ingredient your diet's been missing all along. Alright, now that we've conquered sticky soybeans and stealthy nutrients, let's turn to something just as powerful but in a totally different way. Coming up next, hydration. Yep, water. But not just any water. We're diving into electrolytes, hydration hacks, and the sneaky reason your legs might feel like jelly by 3 p.m. even if you've had your 8 glasses. Stay tuned, this next one might just change the way you fill your cup. 7. What to avoid. 3 common foods that destroy leg strength. So picture this. I once had a patient, sweet older gentleman in his early 70s. Let's call him Jerry. Fit guy. Loved golf. Hated vegetables. Every time I asked about his diet, he'd chuckle and say, "Doctor, I eat like an American. Burgers, fries, and coffee just hold the guilt." But here's the kicker. Jerry had the legs of a much older man. Weak, wobbly, and constantly cramping. He couldn't finish 9 holes without feeling like he ran a marathon. So we dug into the usual suspects, and oh boy, did we find the culprits. Let's break down the 3 most common foods silently wrecking your leg strength, one fry at a time. 1. Processed meats, the sodium and inflammation bomb. Think deli meats, bacon, sausage, hot dogs. You know, the stuff that looks delicious on a breakfast platter and smells like a Sunday cookout. But under that crispy, smoky charm lurks a monstrous amount of sodium, nitrates, and inflammatory fats. Too much sodium messes with your circulation. That means less blood flow to your legs, which means less oxygen, more cramping, and slower muscle recovery. And those nitrates, they can trigger oxidative stress, which basically sets your muscles up for wear and tear like old leather in the sun. I've seen patients trade their breakfast bacon for salmon or avocado, and within weeks, the leg fatigue starts to melt away. Imagine that. Your legs don't need saving. They just need fewer hot dogs. 2. Sugary snacks and sodas, the silent muscle leechers. Let me be blunt. Sugar is not your friend after 60, or 50, or even 40, really. You think it's just about the waistline? Nope. Refined sugar spikes your insulin, then crashes it. Over and over again. That wild ride drains your energy, weakens muscle fiber repair, and feeds chronic inflammation. It's like feeding your legs a steady diet of sabotage. One of my patients, let's call her Margaret, used to start her mornings with a muffin the size of a softball and wash it down with coffee. That was 80% caramel syrup. We swapped that for oatmeal, cinnamon, and a sprinkle of chia. Her blood sugar calmed, her energy rose, and for the first time in years, she could climb stairs without stopping to catch her breath. Sugar is sneaky. It's not just dessert. It's in salad dressings, yogurts, sauces. If you can't pronounce the ingredients, your legs probably can't process them either. 3. Vegetable oils, the disguised inflammation agents. Wait, Doc, you mean olive oil, right? Nope, I mean the cheap stuff. Canola, soybean, corn oil, those mass-produced, heavily refined oils hiding in your chips, baked goods, restaurant fries, and even the healthy granola bars. These oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which aren't bad per se until they're out of balance with omega-3s. And guess what? Most Western diets are drowning in omega-6. That imbalance drives chronic inflammation, which weakens muscle fibers, stiffens joints, and turns your legs into lead sticks. If you want your legs to move like well-oiled machines, ditch the mystery oil and stick with extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or a pat of grass-fed butter. Your knees will thank you. Your heart will write you a thank you card. So what have we learned, class? Leg strength isn't just about what you add to your diet, it's about what you subtract too. Skip the spam, sodas, and seed oils. Your calves will cheer. Your thighs will throw a party. Your knees might even forgive you for the 80s aerobics craze. Up next, we're diving into something even more overlooked than vitamin K2 hydration. Yep, that plain OL glass of water might be more important than your multivitamin. But the trick? It's not just drinking water, it's absorbing it. Let's talk about electrolytes, muscle cramps, and the wild science of cellular hydration in the next section. 8. Daily routine for stronger legs based on Japanese centenarians. Let me paint you a picture. I once visited a rural town in Okinawa, where the average age felt more like a retirement home, except no one acted like they were retired. You've got 90-year-olds tending gardens, biking to the market, and yes, squatting like it's 1955 to pick up daikon from the ground. One man, 103, showed me how he stretches every morning. No fancy yoga mat, just a wooden floor, a breeze through the sliding doors, and the most flexible hamstrings I've ever seen on someone with gray hair and dentures. So what's their secret? Let's break it down into a simple, doable routine inspired by Japan's longest-living legs. 1. Start your day standing, no sitting breakfasts. Forget the soft couch or the recliner. Japanese elders often start their day with a standing breakfast prep, which sounds small but adds up. They slice vegetables, stir miso soup, and prep rice, all while standing, engaging their calves, thighs, and balance. Try this. Instead of scrolling your phone at the table while the toaster does its thing, stand up and prep your plate. A little wobble in the knees means your leg muscles are waking up, not giving out. 2. Morning mobility, the radio Taiso routine. Now this part, adorable and genius. Every morning across schools, homes, and even in parks, people do radio Taiso, a short, rhythmic stretching routine broadcast nationwide. Think of it as Japan's version of a 1950s aerobics tape, but everyone from age 6 to 96 is in on it. It's low impact, just 3 minutes, but it hits all the joints, muscles, and balance systems. And you don't need a TV instructor shouting at you, just some gentle movements with deep breathing and a bit of fun. Look it up on YouTube. Try it tomorrow morning. You'll feel oddly energized. And your legs? They'll quietly thank you. 3. Floor sitting, a built-in leg workout. Okay, brace yourself. Many Japanese elders still sit on the floor. No recliners, no lazy boys. Just tatami mats, knees bent, and core engaged. Getting up and down from the floor multiple times a day acts like a stealthy leg day workout. It builds strength in your quads, glutes, and stabilizers with the need for dumbbells or gym mirrors. If that's too much, even practicing a few slow, controlled squats next to a sturdy table can mimic the effect. You don't have to be a ninja. You just have to move like you're not made of porcelain. 4. Walk after every meal, sansanpo strolls. After meals, elders often take a light walk, nothing fancy, just a loop around the neighborhood or a lap inside the house. This habit aids digestion, blood sugar control, and keeps circulation flowing to those beautiful leg muscles you're now protecting with every bite of natto and sweet potato. If you can walk just 510 minutes after lunch and dinner, You'll see massive benefits not just for your legs, but for your heart, your metabolism, and maybe even your mood. 5. Midday squat breaks. Yes, really. If you spend more than 30 minutes sitting, pause and do a single bodyweight squat. That's it. Do it next to a chair if you need support. It's not about perfection. It's about reminding your legs that they matter. One of my patients started doing this while brushing his teeth. Now he swears his dentist appointments are the most productive leg day of the month. Bonus: green tea and gratitude. Don't underestimate this. Many centenarians in Japan sip green tea not just for antioxidants but as a mindful, calming ritual. Less stress means less cortisol. And less cortisol, better muscle retention, better sleep, and yes, stronger legs. So pour yourself a warm cup, look out the window, and take a moment to feel grateful for your knees. They've carried you a long way. Coming up next, the final recap and how to start today. Stick with me. In just a minute, I'll help you put everything we've learned: eggs, fish, greens, squats, gratitude into one simple plan you can follow tomorrow. Because strong legs don't come from supplements alone. They come from small, daily victories. Let's stack a few together, shall we? 9. Missing links most people overlook. Alright, let's get brutally honest for a second. You could eat the eggs, the natto, even the sweet potatoes so perfectly orange they make Cheetos blush, and still wonder why your legs feel like overcooked noodles. That's because most people, and yes, I mean most, overlook the real missing links that hold the whole strong legs for life strategy together. So let's call them out, shall we? Missing link 1, hydration. I know. You're thinking, come on doc, water? Yes, water. Your muscles, those glorious slabs of protein, are over 70% water. If you're dehydrated, your legs don't glide, they grind. That little KRKK you feel in your knees when standing up? Yeah. That could be dehydration giving your joints the side eye. Try this. Drink a full glass of water first thing in the morning. Before coffee. Before news. Before checking your email. Your body's been fasting all night. Hydrate before you caffeinate. Missing link 2, sleep. Real sleep. Not scroll till midnight sleep. Muscle repair happens in deep sleep. If you're waking up more exhausted than you were at dinner, no, it's not the salmon's fault. It's your body's cry for restoration. Start with just a 20-minute wind down before bed. No screens. Maybe a book. Maybe breathing exercises. Or, my personal favorite, listening to rain sounds while lying flat like a lizard on a warm rock. Missing link 3, belief. Now this one's subtle. I've seen too many patients, good people, give up on their legs before their legs ever gave up on them. They tell themselves, I'm just getting old. Or my mom had bad knees, so I will too. But guess what? You're not a genetic prophecy. You're not a statistic. You're a walking, breathing biology experiment, and every day you get to steer the outcome. So, where does that leave us? We've talked food from leafy greens to fermented funk bombs. We've walked through routines inspired by 100-year-old Japanese farmers. We've even squatted mid-toothbrushing. Now it's your turn. Don't try to change everything overnight. Just pick one thing from this video and start today. Maybe it's boiling an egg. Maybe it's doing a slow squat before your next Netflix binge. Maybe it's drinking that morning glass of water like it's magic potion. Because honestly, it kind of is. If this video helped you even a little, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe for more science why goodness wrapped in dad jokes and weird medical stories. And hey, share this with someone you love whose legs are just begging for a comeback tour. Remember, stronger legs mean more than just walking. They mean freedom to dance, to garden, to hug your grandkids without wobbling. Stay strong, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.